Is there a possibility that Turkey will help Hezbollah or Lebanon in some way, shape, or form to fight Israeli aggression? Well, that's what we will be talking about more in details in a second. But before I move on, just to remind you guys, most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you happen to be one of them, consider subscribing. What we have heard from Turkey after this attack on Lebanon is that Erdogan, he is now in contact with the Lebanese minister, the prime minister. He spoke to Erdogan the other day and he offered his condolences and of course support. Why support? It is because Turkey, they have already supported Iran in terms of any retaliatory act against Israel over the killing of Ismail Haniyeh. Now Turkey is reaching out to the Lebanese prime minister. It also shows that how willing Turkey is to get involved in this and also to help out Lebanon in this war against Hezbollah, as against the IDF soldier in Israel. As we know, there are some reports that suggest that Erdogan, he is a vocal critic of Israel, and therefore, according to these sources, he is going to be supporting Hezbollah or Lebanon in this case to fight against Israeli aggression. But before I talk more in details, I just want to share with you this particular statement coming from Lebanese health minister. Take a listen what he has to say.
Lebanon's health minister says those behind the attacks on Tuesday and Wednesday must be brought to justice.
This is considered to be a war crime. The majority of the fallen victims were killed and injured in civilian areas, not on a battlefield. The government and the National Security Council are considering their own actions.
Absolutely, and this is a war crime. This is a terrorist act. Obviously, the Western media, including CBS News, CNN, they're calling it an audacious attack, quote unquote, Israel's audacious attack. Can you believe this? When they kill innocent civilians, the Western media call them or title them audacious attack by Israel, and this happened, that happened. Like, this is beyond pathetic from the Western media, and I was quite shocked when I found out about that. But obviously nothing is shocking anymore. We know what they do and what they stand for. Now, this is what this moron, this Israeli Minister of Justice has to say about what the relationship between Hezbollah and Israel. Take a listen.
Hezbollah is not going to eliminate Israel, and Israel is not going to eliminate Hezbollah. So at the end of the war, we will still, both of us will remain, but just many people on both sides will be killed. And then we will have a kind of an indirect agreement. So let's have this agreement now.
Okay, so how moronic this guy sounds. How moronic. He said that there will be no existential threat to Israel from Hezbollah, nor there will be any existential threat to Hezbollah from Israel. But all we will get is more death. So he knows that his civilian, Israeli civilian, will get killed, and they're getting killed. Then why would they preempt and attack Hezbollah in Lebanon and conduct this terrorist act? Doesn't make any sense. Why you know that your people are at risk, that Israeli Zionists, they're gonna die, and of course Lebanese people are dying. So why did you then initiate this terrorist attack in Lebanon? Because until that happened, it was just tit for tat. Hezbollah was not going all in to attack Israel after the Fuad Shukr assassination retaliation that took place, that Hezbollah did last month. But after that, for the most part, they're not escalating it anymore until now, when we see they're going deep inside Lebanon and attacking civilians doing this terrorist act. So what is the consequence? What will happen? The picture was painted by a researcher. Her name is Zahabi, Sira Zahabi. She worked for the Israeli Research Center, and her focus was mainly on Israeli intelligence. This is what she has to say. She said Hezbollah rockets were relatively easy for Israel's Iron Dome defense system to shoot down, but the group's drones are sometimes able to get past aerial defense systems and have killed people. Anti-tank missiles coming from Hezbollah are the most dangerous kind of attack. Zahabi said, because there is no warning and nothing can be done to defend against them. And then she said that these attacks, they cannot be intercepted at all, and we don't have an answer to this. Means Israel doesn't have any answer to this anti-missile, anti-tank attack, or anti-attack, I should say. You only have a few seconds. You don't have alerts. They're just launched and hit, and they are very accurate because Hezbollah has advanced anti-tank missiles, Zahabi said. Now she is painting the picture for us, for people who are Zionists. They are cheering. They're doing a victory lap at the moment. Oh, look how effective, how audacious, the Western media, audacious Israeli military is. They can reach anywhere, they can target anything, and then they can get away with it. No, this is really not the case. Zahabi said even if there is a ceasefire reached between Israel and Hamas that brings a cessation of the current hostilities with Hezbollah too, the threat from Lebanese group will remain. Now, this is where things get interesting, because she then talks about Israeli military, how tired, how exhausted they are. She said, quote, I don't think that Hezbollah is interested in a wide invasion now, but you can read with me that the basic goal of Hezbollah is to carry out this kind of invasion when it's most comfortable to them. And when I talk about Turkey helping Lebanon and Hezbollah, not just necessarily with weapon, but even with money. I mean, they can provide Hezbollah fighters support with money, maybe some other ways, shape or form, maybe giving them a free passage, sharing intelligence with them. We do not know what Israel or what Turkey can do in order to help Hezbollah. There are so many other ways in addition to supplying them weapons, especially the drones, the Turkish drones. They can wreak havoc. Now, after October 7th, she said Hezbollah lost the element of surprise because IDF is prepared here. But imagine that we will have a ceasefire, the people will come back to the communities, they will not be empty anymore, the communities next to the border. If Hezbollah will attack, she said, the achievement will be greater and they will be capable of killing many civilians. What she's trying to say here is that if the war is over and there is a ceasefire between Hezbollah and IDF, and then people go back to their home, especially the Kiryat Shmona region, that is northeast of Israel. Once they go back and Hezbollah decides, you know what, we're going to attack them, surprise attack, what will happen? 60,000 people at least living there will be absolutely caught off guard. IDF cannot draft these reservists. So this is where she talks about the current situation, the military personnel they have in the IDF. These people are already drafted. Israeli military, they do not have any more military left. All of them are being drafted. If there is a ceasefire and calm, and then Hezbollah decides to attack IDF bases or civilian areas, then this reservist, they will not be able to go back to work because they were already drafted. And I think you have a limitation of how many times you can draft those soldiers into the army. But then again, they said, according to Zahabi, the risk is always going to be there, and Hezbollah will always have a good chance to inflict maximum damage. And on top of all of this, remember, this situation is very, very different than in the past. This time, we're talking about a genocide in Gaza. This time, we're talking about Erdogan, who is absolutely furious. We know a lot of people say, oh, he doesn't do anything. He's just all about talk. And I agree with that. He needs to cut the oil supply and all of those things off from Israel. I agree with that. However, when it comes to helping entities like Hezbollah, and if Turkey does have the ability to do so in some way, shape, or form, because he does have a good connection with Lebanese Prime Minister, maybe he will give them some weapon or make a treaty, because Lebanese government is legitimate government. Erdogan doesn't have to give weapon to Hezbollah. He can just give it to Lebanese government or use that channel to supply weapon to Hezbollah. That's my point. I'm not saying, oh, Turkey is going to give a weapon to Hezbollah. That's not what I'm saying. Don't quote me on that. But I'm saying that if Turkey wants to help Lebanon, they can do it, especially Hezbollah. So this reservist cannot be drafted, and what will happen? Yeah, you guessed it, maximum casualties. And this is why, perhaps, guys, this is why Israel never wanted a war with Hezbollah. But then again, they're so These are all maniacs. These are all mad dogs. What they do, they go inside Lebanon and do this terrorist act. There's absolutely no need for that. The problem, she said Chatham House's vehicle, is that Israel's leaders are not taking the real steps. So this is coming from a different person, that could alter the balance of power, quote unquote, pointing to Israel's ongoing occupation of some Palestinian land and their calls for an independent state as what gives air and energy to the movement. If Israel began to think more concretely about taking air out of the balloon and addressing their domestic security crisis, not just through military means, but through an accountability governance and peace process, that would be the most enfranchising way of protecting their security against, a Hamas or Hezbollah or Iran even. Good luck with that. I mean, the government sitting in Tel Aviv is a complete lunatic. Instead of winding it down, instead of toning it down, they are now sending troops to the border. They want to accomplish some new goals. And Yoav Gallant, he said that Hezbollah is not Hamas. He himself said that. I actually had the video. I don't think I have it right now. But Yoav Gallant, he admitted that fighting Hezbollah is not fighting Hamas. Now, the reason I mention what he said is because think about this. These people, they're so incapable of defeating as the smallest military in the world, Hamas, that they undertake more responsibilities. They wide their objectives, war objectives and goals and all that. And in the process, they win nothing. They're just on a crazy maniac mission of self-destruction and destabilize the whole region in the process. That's exactly what Israel is doing at the moment. I have some comments here, guys. Thank you so much for your comments. I will see you in the next video. You have a wonderful day. Take care.